Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us on episode 17. And we're going to do what we do every single week. We're just going to talk about knitting, crocheting, and general life stuff. So grab your favorite project and yarn over with us.
And I said, you have just made my day. Hello, everyone. I am Susie, and I am so glad that you are joining us today. We are going to be talking about all kinds of fun things. Hope you have a project and something to drink. And of course, we're going to entertain you today, and you have no idea what we're going to share. I don't
Because
know
we
that we
really
really
don't
even know.
either.
I don't know if we know. But anyway, we're going to talk about projects that we're working on and maybe share a little bit of things from the kitchen and who knows what we're going to share, but we're going to share a lot of joy in your life today. So thanks for being here.
Yes, and if you have friends who knit or crochet and are not watching us yet, please share with us and help our little yarn circle to grow because we just love to have more. The more the merrier. So anyway, so Susie, what has the last 2 weeks been like for you?
Very relaxing, and I have worked. I've worked both weeks, but I
Hmm.
have had an empty house other than, of course, me and my husband. And I've gotten a lot of knitting done. I've got a lot of deadlines that I'm trying to hit. So I have been picking up my needles a lot over the last couple of weeks, which, of course, creates a lot of rest and relaxation for me.
Um, so I'm actually completely the opposite. I have not knit or crocheted a lot at all because we've had company celebrations and getaways. So we crammed a lot in the last, well, it's actually only been a week, but 2 weeks since we've recorded. Where do I begin? Well, first of all, we had the March birthday bash. We have my husband and two of the kids are born in March. And then our friends that came from Wisconsin born in March. There's a lot of March birthdays. So we have one big family celebration. So we had that, and that was of course fun. And then we left to go to Charlottesville, Virginia, and that was really a cool trip. So we actually got to stay in the oldest inn in Charlottesville, Virginia. And there's this woman by the name of Candace Deloach, and she's actually a very famous designer, and she does like all these fancy places in Charleston and at Tybee Island and all these different places, right? Well, anyway, so we didn't know anything about her, but we got into the inn, and I'm going to show some pictures here. And of course, the inn was just breathtaking. And we walked in, and it's got all this, exotic, eclectic color. Susie, you would have loved it because it's
Oh, I
all your
know
color.
I would.
And and the pictures actually make it look a little like ooh, but when you're standing in it, it was stunning. And we're just kind of like, okay, this is really cool. And we got into the sitting room because we just sat down in their, I guess, the parlor. And she came
It
in, and
looks
we
like
didn't really.
there's red. It looks like there's a lot of red and black in there. They are
And
definitely
it
my
had
colors.
oh, sorry. And it had my turquoise blues and even that navy,
Mm.
that bright navy that you use, all of it was in there. I mean, that's the thing. She just threw all these antiques together and made it work. Well, so we were just sitting in there and just relaxing after the 4-hour trip. And this woman comes in and asks us if, we'd like a beverage. And we said we would. And so then anyway, we just got talking and we said, well, are you the owner? And she said, I am. And so we asked some questions. And of course, the house was built in 1785. So
Wow.
very old. And so she starts telling us the history. Well, of course, we went to Charlottesville for the history. We love history. And so she starts telling us all the different people that live there and the different, stages of what the house was. Sometimes it was a lawyer's office after the inn. And anyway, and she starts talking, and then we find out that she's this like mega famous from New York designer, but she's been there
Wow.
quite some time, and her brother do this business together. They have 15 warehouses of antiques.
Wow.
15 that they use to furnish these rooms. So the inn that we were in is actually two different houses, and the inn we were in, where the parlor was, all the names of the rooms are named after people who actually lived in that house at any time in history. The house next
Wow.
the house next door, are all the rooms are named after her family members. So for instance, it was so cool. Like, she had a room and you walked in and all of it was just very pretty, but there's like this giant bass on the wall, and all these more, hunting and fishing things, and these big maps, and those were her grandmother's things. And anyway, it was just fascinating. So then she goes on to tell us that she's got another project, in process. Would we like to go see it? And we're like, and of course, she told us a bunch of history of those houses. We're like, well, of course we want to see it. So we walked down the road, and at the end of the road, there is another ginormous once inn and tavern that she has purchased. And so, it just, on the outside, it's just brick, and it doesn't look like anything exciting. So she opens the door, and inside this door, it's kind of dark and still dusty. I don't think anybody's been in there at least 50, 60 years. I mean, I'm guessing by the amount of dust and, just the general condition of the place. And she had it staged for her investors and her bankers. So she's got, amongst all this rubble, I mean, it was just, I wish we would have taken more pictures, but it was kind of dark in there. I mean, she'd flip on lights and they're hanging from wires. The bulbs are hanging from wires. But she's got all these antiques set up. Like, this is going to be the ballroom. This is going to be the
Wow.
bar. This is going to be the kitchen. Oh, yeah. It was like, my thought process, I'm just so practical. I'm like, you hauled all this furniture in here, and now you've got to take it out because she has to do the renovations. Then she took us upstairs and showed us a couple of rooms. Again, these big wooden beds that somebody hauled up these stairs, just to put up there, because she had to give the investors a vision for where they were going. And then we went back outside, and she said, now down here is the old historic tavern. And if anybody watched Cheers back in the day, Cheers had the window down low, and you could like see, it was at sidewalk level was the window. So that was what this was. And so we went down the stairs and in there, and there inside there was this very old tavern. You're talking the 1700s. Like, it's still
Wow.
there. The wood and some, of course, a lot of the crown molding and things were still there. And there was a bunker. And she said back in the day, all the rich people build bunkers. Well, there were a lot of wars. I mean, but they were like, so we go in this bunker, which is very cold, and there it's all cement ceiling, cement walls. And anyway, it was just all very, very fascinating. But we learned a lot about history there of the city, and she was just a delightful person. And I just say, if anybody needs a getaway and lives anywhere near Virginia, just go. I mean, and it's a 3-course breakfast made right there.
Wow. You're making
Oh,
me want to go.
I know. Well, here's another thing. It's a picture of the dining room. Do you see those green glasses? I have
Yes.
I have 2 boxes of those green glasses. I've held on to them all these years, and I haven't used them because I didn't want them to break. And she said she got them from her grandmother because she uses a lot of her family stuff in there, right? And I said, I have 2 boxes of those. She said, you do? Do you want to sell them? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, tell me about these glasses.
It's like,
Do
no, I don't
you?
want to sell them
Well,
now.
Well, now here's the thing. I learned these glasses were from S&H green stamps. They're not even that old. They're from like the 60s. I said, really? Because I see them at antique malls all the time. And
Yeah.
you guys, if any of you watching go to antique malls, you've probably seen these glasses. And here I'm thinking there's some like fancy, well, my mom bought them actually at some, auction or something. And of course I inherited them. So I think I'm going to use them. They're really pretty, aren't they? That green. I think it's
They're
kind of
beautiful.
cool. So yep, S&H green stamps. So, but imagine you used to be able to get stuff like that just from stamps. Kind of fascinating. So anyway, and then we went to see the Monticello, which was, nice. It was interesting. So we visited the Monticello, and I had been there probably 20 years ago, and the tour was delightful. But the tour this time was extremely shaming. It was very politically correct and very white shaming. We were just sitting there, and all we heard over and over and over was about Thomas Jefferson and, the fact that he was, like all about the rights of all people, of course, the pursuit of happiness and all those things. Yet she kept saying, but this is the complicated past of America because he owned slaves. And of course he had children with Sally Hemings, a slave, that he actually brought back from France, which I find very interesting. She was 16 when she came here. So anyway, the tour guide was more focused on the foibles of slavery at the time in America, and the tour guide was more focused on the slavery that was going on at, Thomas Jefferson's home than all the other accomplishments he had. He was an amazing president. He was responsible for the Lewis and Clark expedition, for the Louisiana Purchase, all the inventions he did. And it just kind of went on and on and on about the slavery. But the sad thing is, they don't really account for the fact that he did actually care about his slaves and was kind. In fact, one of the things that told us that was the fact that he had an overseer over the slaves. And instead of picking a white man, he picked one of his favorite people there, one of his favorite slaves. And he let another slave oversee the slaves. I mean, what do you think would have been better is having one of your own people, care for you and oversee you than someone else. And so to me, that was just a nice thing. But if he would have let the slaves go at that time, because slavery, of course, was not illegal yet, they would have just been recaptured and been slaves again for somebody else. So his choice was either keep them or let them go, and letting them go would have been, I think, more harmful for them. But anyway, it was just sad. They didn't really just focus on, Thomas Jefferson. It was very, very, it was very uncomfortable. It just was a lot of, I think, what you'd call white shaming. And it was just a lot of talking about slavery. And it's like, yes, that was a complicated past of not only our country, but every country in Europe. I mean, every country had slavery at one time or another, and almost every people have been slaves, at one time or another. And it was just a little sad. In fact, next time I would just go there and not do a tour, but you can't really get through the house without the tour. But I remember when we went, like 20 years ago, they focused on all his inventions and told us what the things that were laying on the tables were and described what they did. We didn't get any of that. I mean, it was just, that part was a little disappointing, but it was still really neat. So yeah, that's what we did. And then of course I cannot forget this. This is their business card. And she said, this is what we use so you won't lose it and throw it away. And boy, isn't she right? I mean, there it is.
Really,
Magpie. Yeah, Magpie
very,
knits.
very clever.
It is clever. And the funny thing is when I stepped in there, I literally started to vibrate. It was simply the most beautiful. No, it was the most beautiful stocked yarn store I have ever been in. Not that I've been in, gajillions of them, but they had a lot of different yarns. They had beautiful tools. They had nice knitting needles, beautiful scissors. They had all the nice things. And it was kind of funny because when I was in there, I was thinking, I love my friends, and I don't think they watch this podcast anyway. Love them dearly, including my husband, although he would have been okay. But one should not travel without a yarn buddy because I could have spent hours in there. I could have just stayed in there for hours. In fact, I was like panicked because I wanted to buy something, because that's what I do is I buy yarn at any yarn shop when I travel. And pretty much any yarn shop I go into, right? But they were they were hungry. We had just gotten there and we had just gotten to town. Of course, one of the first stores we happened to see is the yarn store. And, but it was beautiful. The interesting thing is they had tons of koi goo. And I don't know if have you ever knit, Susie, with koi goo yarn? It is a nice twisted yarn. It makes beautiful sweaters.
I don't think I have.
I have quite a bit of it. And I know it also, it's used for socks and stuff, but they had like the colors I have tend to be more autumnal, because I inherited it and that's the kind of yarn she liked, but they had a lot of pastels. She had just gobs of yarn. She even had private labeled yarn. So I don't know who that was from, but it was very, very nice. So should I show you the yarn I bought? It's very simple because this is one color. I said, I need something that looks like a birch tree. It's just very simple, and it is it's a sport weight, which I needed. What is it? It is 100%. Oh, it's cotton and alpaca. So that's what I needed for.
It looks very pretty.
Yeah, cotton and alpaca.
Looks soft.
It is, and it's just got those colors of the birch in there. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. I've got a plan. So, but yes, that was my little knitting expedition. So anyway, I think that's all I did.
Well, I went on the website once I saw the business card, and just kind of
Sent a picture.
wishing that I had have been there with you, because it would have been amazing to be in there. When I travel outside of home base, I always am looking to see if where I'm going there's a yarn shop, because it makes the travel so much more wonderful when you know that you get to visit a local yarn shop. It just makes it extra special. But anyway, I went to the website and kind of scrolled through the pictures and kind of experienced it in Huntsville, even though I wasn't there in Charlottesville with you. And I decided that I would do a check to see if she had what kind of cotton she had, and if she had it in a worsted weight, because I was looking for a worsted weight cotton, because Mary Catherine, my daughter, is going to be having a little girl at the end of June.
Right.
And I have knitted baby blankets for her to take to the hospital with the other 3 girls. And so we were trying to figure out, what yarn and what pattern. And so when I went on there, I found a beautiful cotton that she had. It has a little bit of nylon in it, which will make a really nice little baby blanket. And so I sent the colors to Mary Catherine, and she picked out a beautiful lavender, and I already have it from the Charlottesville yarn shop. Yes. And so I get to share that. So this is the yarn.
Where are my readers?
That
that is pretty. I lost my glasses.
Beautiful.
It is. I've lost my glasses. There. Oh, that's a lovely color. And you said that is cotton and what?
It's cotton with a little bit of nylon, and it's called Cumulus.
Oh, it's shiny.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, and it's called, the brand name is Cumulus. I don't know if you can see that. The light's too much, but
it's yummy.
Yeah, it's called Cumulus, and it's from Juniper Moon Farms. And
Oh.
so this is the yarn that I'm going to be using, and they mailed it very quickly. It was wrapped in pretty tissue with their little sticker from the store. And
Did they send you
so
a business card?
they didn't. I was hoping that they
Wow.
would, but they didn't. They didn't send me one. But the blanket that I'm going to be knitting for the baby is from it's a pattern from Ravelry, and it's called tulips. Let's see, it's called Happy Tulip Blanket, and I'll show you a picture. Of course, we might can put up a better one later, but this is the,
Oh, that's
I don't know if you can
pretty.
see it, but it's got
Yes.
little tulips. And
Yep.
she's a summer baby. Of course, tulips are more of a spring flower, but it was going to be pretty with the purple or the lavender cotton. And so even though I wasn't there with you, I shopped with you. I've got something
That's
from
so
the yarn
fun.
shop too.
Oh
And
man,
so
I was disappointed I didn't get to spend more time there. But if we ever go back, which we might go camping up there because it's very pretty, and there's so much history. Because Virginia was part of colonial America, of course. So
yeah.
there's tons of stuff there to see. So we might go back, and I might get to go back there. But yeah.
So I have been doing a lot of knitting. I've got another baby blanket that's got to be given at a shower on April the 6th. So
Uh huh.
I instead of going and shopping for yarn, I dove into my yarn stash, and
Did you?
I did, and I came up with
I bet you could
some
find
yarn.
stuff.
Oh, lots of stuff. I came up with a yarn from Cascade Yarns called Swaddle. And so I had two skeins of this, and I knew it wasn't going to be
That's
enough.
fun.
So I had another of the same brand, and
Okay.
actually the colors are identical, except just one is more bold
Right.
in the
Yeah.
way that the colors are made, and this is lighter, but they're all the same colors. So I had two hanks of this and two hanks or skeins of this. So what I'm doing is I'm making the baby blanket that starts at the corner, and you start off with a yarn over, so you've got the little loops. It's
Mm-hmm.
baby blanket that I've been making, but this is for a little boy. So I'm going to probably do a ribbed border when I pick up the stitches and just do something really simple. But what I'm doing is I'm alternating those skeins every 2 rows and putting
Oh
it
yeah, it
in so
looks
you
it
can't
looks like it's
tell.
meant to be. No, you can't. So
Yeah, so
every two rows you're changing.
so what I
Mm,
do is I knit across to knit back, and then I pick up the
very
other
good.
the
Good
other
job.
line, knit across and back. So you can't tell that I'm using two different, and it
You
just looks really
can't.
good.
It
And so
does. It's
when I
brilliant.
finish the square, when I finish, so I'm now going down the other side. So when I finish it, I'm gonna pick up all these little loops, and I'll create some type of border that looks, nice for a boy. So I'm over
Mm-hmm.
halfway finished, so I will be finished with this for the shower. But then the other thing is I was on Purl Soho's website, and I love looking at the things that they have. They have really pretty yarns and really
Yeah.
neat patterns. They're simple, but they're pretty. And so I was looking on there, and they had the cutest little. They're called. Let me see if I can make sure I tell you right. They're called. Hold on. They're called Happy Feet Booties from Purl Soho, and this is what they look like. And
Oh.
I I got one made. Isn't that darling?
Oh my
And
gosh.
They're just,
Yep.
and the neat thing about this little pattern is you knit it flat and then you seam it together, and the way, and it just, when you seamed it together, it created the little heel,
Wow.
and it's just the cutest little booty, and
Oh
it's made
man, we
out of
have to share
cotton.
that pattern. That is, yeah.
And
That could be a candidate instead of the dishcloths, of course, assuming you have babies around to knit for, but fun. You can, just knit some and have them in stock for a quick gift.
yeah, and they're and
That's what
they're
I would
they're
do.
ea- they're they're real easy to knit because they knit flat, and then you just seam them together. And you
Yeah,
do knit. The pattern calls for you to knit them out of cotton. And Purl
right.
Soho, if you go to that website, you will see the little pattern, and it's a free pattern, and then they show you the groupings of their cotton that you can buy, like 4 skeins of cotton, and they're different colors. And the other thing that they had there when I went there is they had some really neat little dishcloths, and I thought, oh, I just love the pattern. And so when I um, pulled up the pattern, it's another free pattern, and it's called Knit and Purl Washcloth. And this is the way they look.
Oh,
And
those are
so,
snappy.
aren't they cute? I love
They
and it
are.
uses that same type of cotton that Purl Soho has, but I did a stash dive and went in and found some, and I actually made one.
Girl, how you did knit a lot this week. Oh
I
my
did do some knitting,
gosh.
but I didn't
I
put the
like
loop.
that.
I didn't put the
I like
loop because
that.
I didn't think I would enjoy, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't think that I would enjoy the loop. But I did love the little rib that you make down here, and then you switch, and this is a seed stitch in the middle. And so, which
I
makes
like
nice for
that.
a dishcloth
Yeah.
because it's bumpy,
Scrubby.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I would have done different is I would have made it a little, I'd have done the cast on
And
a
make
little
it
bit
bigger.
more. Yeah,
Yeah. I
because
like
my
them
yarn
big.
that I was using was more of a DK versus a worsted, and I should have really cast it on more. But cute dishcloth.
It's funny because it's about time we have some different styles of dishcloths. Hey, if
I
you guys
know.
have any patterns that you like for dishcloths, please share them with us in the comments.
Yes, because
Maybe that's cool.
dishcloths are my go-to for comfort knitting. We talked about that last episode,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that was a fun dishcloth to knit. And if you knit continental, then the seed stitch is not as frustrating. If you do English knitting, sometimes people don't enjoy seed stitch, but if you like seed stitch, it's a seed stitch dishcloth, which was really nice. And then the other thing that I've been working on,
She's got more.
I've got
I'm so humiliated right now. That's okay.
the other thing
My
that I've
time's
been working
coming.
on. Well, I've got a lot of deadlines that I'm trying to hit, and so I was very thankful for
Yeah.
2 weeks that I could zero in on a lot of knitting. But we mentioned last episode how that I had made little animals for my granddaughters. I've made Maisie the pig and Holly the
Right.
hedgehog,
Oh,
and
just
now
start.
I'm working on Tilly the rabbit. And so here is Tilly's little
Oh,
dress.
oh, I love knitting the little clothes. I didn't really enjoy knitting the animal. It's the clothes I like.
I have made Tilly's head, and of course I won't show that because it just
Oh,
doesn't look like anything. But of course now I have
okay.
the ears to knit, and I've got the arms, legs, and body. So I've still got a lot of knitting to do. But this is Tilly's little cardigan.
The carrots. I
I
love it. Oh
know.
my gosh.
And I've still got to knit the arms, and so the purple, arms to the cardigan I've got to do. And
Oh, okay.
but
I'll
this
have
was really
sleeves.
interesting because
It's
the
cute
cardigan,
sleeveless.
it is, but
Cute.
the sleeves on this are
Oh,
about the same. But
gotcha.
the cardigan,
Oh man. I had so much fun knitting the clothes for my two little animals.
so
Oh,
there
that's
this
just
is the way it'll
so
look.
adorable. Are you
And
using
then the
cotton?
sleeves. I have used cotton, and it's the sheepy yarn that the pattern
Hmm.
calls for. And I have
Yeah.
ordered sheepy for, I know I used that for Holly the Hedgehog. But this one, I literally went to Hobby Lobby and just found this. I think that this is mainly acrylic, but it's knitting up really
Okay.
pretty, and it will wash and, wear really
Sure.
good.
Sure.
Um, but this was really neat because I did Fair Isles knitting for the carrots, and then I
Yeah.
had to do intarsia knitting for the band here, which was different for me because you had to knit this in purple and then carry the white. And I had to fix a bobbin for one side, and then I carried the purple up on the other. So I had to have a bobbing. And so there was a lot of work on this little cardigan. And
So your main color is purple because it looks gray on my screen.
yes, it is it's a gray, it's purple, but it's got a lot of gray in it. So
Okay.
if you, yeah,
Okay.
it's more of a purple.
That'll look
Um,
nice. Well, I mean, it looks nice with the green just as it is. I mean, it looks good.
mhm.
So purple will be really pretty with the green though.
Yeah, so Tilly's
Oh,
coming along, and Maddox, who is the third daughter, her second birthday is the 7th of April, and they will be coming here for a long weekend on the 9th of April, and so
oh,
I
that's not that
really
long
wanted to.
away.
I
Oh,
know, and I may
mm.
not get it finished, so but I'm working hard on it. So
So
those are the
Susie,
projects that.
take a picture of your garments that you got done so far and put them on Instagram.
Okay.
Because it'll probably show really nice on Instagram. It's just computers and TVs. I don't know. I'm sure it's just my computer that I'm looking at, but I'd love to see how it's pretty so we can show it.
Okay.
Yeah. So y'all go to
Yes, so those
Instagram to
are.
find it. Yeah.
I will put it up on Instagram. So
Yeah.
those are the items that I have knitted on, and then I had my monthly yarn clubs to the March yarn clubs to come. So I have
Mm-hmm.
those if you want me to show them. Um,
Sure.
so I'm a part. I've mentioned before that I do 2 yarn clubs, and one is called Specklfinch Studios, the Yarn Bliss Box. And if you check the sites, every once in a while they come on that the yarn clubs are open.
I think
And
they
so
are right now.
are they open right now?
Yeah, I think they've increased their membership.
So the March yarn clubs focus was chickens.
That should have been mine. What
Uh,
is that? Is it a sticker? What is that?
It's it's a little card that came in. There's
Oh, a
always a
card.
little treat. Yeah, there's always
Aw.
a little treat bag. And so this is a card, and it
Chickens.
talks about your March box and what's in there.
Aw.
And look at these darling little chickens. They're needle stoppers. Look at here.
I know Kimmy has those. I told her, I
I
said,
love
Susie got
them.
a box with them in. I know. How
And
cute.
then she added in a pin, a chicken little pin for like your knitting bag,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then a little chicken sticker. And so those were the little treats in the treat bag.
Yep.
And
My hair's messed
then
up.
the hank of yarn is beautiful. This
Oh, that
isn't that
is really
beautiful?
pretty. That is so pretty. Very, very pretty. I
And
love it.
this is finger and weight. I get the finger and weight yarn from this yarn club. And then the other yarn club is the Yarnable box. And I get a DK weight yarn from Yarnable. And this is my
Ooh,
yarn.
ooh, ooh,
This is the
ooh,
March yarn.
ooh, ooh, ooh. Did you show that last week?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I
okay. Because
don't think
I'm
I
having
did.
like a weird deja vu moment here. Because I was like, that looks like a peacock. If you did, that's okay.
It
It's beautiful.
does, and
It's
I I didn't. I think
maybe
I
you
may
just
have.
showed me.
may- Maybe I just showed you. I don't know.
Did
Maybe
you
I
all
did
see
show
it?
it.
Well, help us
and
out, guys.
and
Did you all
yarn
see it already? That's okay.
and then Yarnable always sends these little bags with some treats in it.
Right.
And I
Aw.
got a stitch. This is a row counter that you are able to count your
Oh.
rows. Isn't that
Yep.
pretty?
Put in a loop. Mm-hmm.
And some nice little tea called Plum Deluxe, some loose tea,
Aw. Fun.
and then some lavender hand wipes for your purse. So
There you
they,
go.
you never know what kind of little treats you're going to get. But anyway, that's the Yarnable March Yarn Club and the Speckled Finch Yarn Club. So
Well,
that is
how
all
fun.
that is all my show and tell.
I actually did order something from Expression Fiber Arts.
Oh,
And her yarn clubs, she calls them yarn clubs, but they're not reoccurring. So it's pretty much you just buy, from what I understand, you buy just that 1 month's thing, and then you don't have any additional billing or anything. So I bought, I think it was the March, but I didn't bring it. Should I go get it? I'll pause.
mm-hmm.
Hold on. It's very pretty. Hold on.
Go get it.
So this is what I got from Expression Fiber Art.
Oh,
Isn't that pretty? But it also has like um, some golds. It doesn't really show up so well on here. So there's some golds in there. This is called Morning Pasture Pearlescent Fingering Superwash Merino Wool and Mulberry Silk 50/50.
oh, that is beautiful.
And oh, look at how that goes with this. I think I need to order another one because I know that this won't be enough. 550 yards won't be enough to really do anything that I'd want to do. So I think I need another one. And she still has them, but I better hurry up. But it is a very different feeling yarn. It feels like, yeah, it's nice. It's just, oh, it's so pretty. In person, it even looks prettier. I mean, look at these colors.
It's beautiful. Those are
Yeah,
beautiful colors. And
we carry on about her, but I love her dyeing. And
yeah,
then oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I have a lot of one skein projects in a file in Ravelry that I, through the years, have thrown in there. So and her hanks have a lot of, most of your skeins only have just over 400 yards, but hers, some
Mm-hmm.
of them have, like that one has
Yeah. Oh,
550. So you can
yeah.
find beautiful
Well,
little shawlettes that you can knit, which would be beautiful with something like you've got on there, just, to
I
hang around your
know.
neck.
Yeah. I know.
So,
It'd be so pretty. And then along with it, she has a little card that just talks about her. Oh, here we go. She talks about her. Oh, she's suggesting patterns for crocheters and knitters that are in Ravelry. Oh, a coupon code. Good, because I need another skein. And then she added some beads. And I have never added beads to projects ever. I
oh,
bought
yeah,
them, but I would
yeah,
like to try. I don't know
it,
how, to be real honest, but
oh,
I'll learn.
it's not hard. It's not hard.
Really?
You will, oh no, not at all. It's not hard at all. There's several different ways that you can do it. Some people will
Yeah.
string them and then pull them up as they get to a point that they need a bead. You pull it up, so you string them first, which I feel like is the harder way to do it. The way that I enjoyed beading
Hmm.
the best is one at a time, and you pull. Um, with a crochet hook, you go through the bead and pull the yarn through and then hook it back on the hook, and then you knit, so you have threaded the bead onto the yarn. So
Oh,
that's, to
Lordy.
me, that's the easy, and it takes a lot of time because you're
I,
every time.
yeah. Yeah. I can't imagine a crochet hook would ever fit through this bead. I
Well,
mean,
you can, yeah, you can
it'd be a
find
needle
crochet.
might.
Yeah, sometimes you
Yeah.
have to. Sometimes people will do it through the bridge threaders, like you
For teeth. Mm-hmm.
yeah, for teeth, that they'll hook the bead
Mm.
and
Yeah.
take the bead through with a bridge threader. You can do it that way too. But there's
Yeah.
different ways to do it depending on how big the hole is in the bead. But if the hole is big enough, I've used a crochet hook to pull the yarn through.
Yeah.
So it
I
just
better get
depends.
another one. It's the March. I think
Are
I have
those
this opposite.
tulips?
Yeah, tulips and
Tulips.
tulips and crocus. But anyway, I need another one. I better hurry up and order one before they're gone. Um, but so I was wondering about like your yarn clubs that you get. So, like for instance, Speckled Finch, does she tend to um dye in the same color, like so you could will her yarns go together to make a project, or would you have to find other yarns to go with them? Because
Some of
there's
them
tones,
may.
tints, hues. I mean, some people just tend to do all the same intensities and whatnot of the colors. So would her
She does
yarns all go
different.
together?
Um,
Mm.
she does different. She'll do tints and tones, and then sometimes she does more shading. And then
Really?
sometimes she does the hues, the bright, vivid colors. So it just
Mm-hmm.
depends. And a lot of times her
Mm-hmm.
months are theme oriented, like could be theme oriented with the month and the season of the year, or it could be like this one was chickens, and so that she put the reds and the
Yeah.
yellows and things like that in the color for this. So it just depends.
Show it to
Um,
me again. Show me that yarn again. I was just thinking when you said something about chickens, because there is a woman who, there's a book. Actually, I should find this book. Okay. So there's a book of these beautiful chicken photographs, and there's a yarn dyer, okay, who literally uses that book for her ideas on what colors go together for yarns. And I really have to
oh,
ask my friend Jeanette about it. She's the one who gave me the book many years ago already, so she knows the whole inside to that. But I'm gonna look into that. But I thought it was brilliant because I mean, God knows what He's doing when He puts color together. So you've got all these different, like that looks kind of like an Americana. Americana, especially the roosters, and we have one.
yeah,
I should take a picture of him. I mean, he is, teal and orange and dark black, and he's got all these beautiful colors
yeah.
together. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you know what's going to go together. But anyway, she uses a chicken book. I have it. I should go find it. So
Uh,
inspiring ideas. And I know,
Chickens can be
like
very
my
colorful.
Advent. Well, my Advent was inspired by the garden. She Leap of Faith. She did all the colors of in the garden. Of different plants.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, you know what though? I have never. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have dyed yarn. Oh, Maureen's going to see this. She's going to say, "Of course you have." I forgot for a nanosecond. I have dyed yarn one time, and it was ice dyeing, and she taught us how. And but I didn't know what I was doing. I just took a couple of colors, and did it, and then a couple of sprinkles to add little speckles, which didn't really even do a good job. But they make it look so easy. They throw out this pan, they put the yarn in there, and then they do this and this and this, and somehow they know where it's all going to go, like in the fiber, and it comes out looking like this. I mean, I find that amazing.
It
That's
really
amazing.
is. It is truly an art.
It
It's
is,
it's
and I
an
mean,
art.
and then just to know like how deep it's going to go, because then they flip them over and then they redo
Hmm.
it, and I'm like, I don't know how they do it. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. And really every hank is unique to itself because there's absolutely, I don't
Mm-hmm.
think any way that you can create identical hanks of yarn dyeing. But
Mm-mm.
it it makes that hank of yarn a lot more special to know that somebody actually did it with their hands,
Oh, most
So,
definitely. So now that we've shared what we are up to, we're going to show you our subscribers' projects in the Yarn Circle Spotlight. Oh,
wow, those were beautiful projects, and we absolutely love it when y'all share your projects with us
yes.
because we feel like that just makes our yarn circle feel more real. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're watching and you have projects that you finished that you would be willing
And
to
we know
share
you
with
do.
us, and we know you do. And we love for you to be in the pictures too if you feel comfortable with that. So jump in a picture
Mm-hmm.
with your project and send it to us at contactyarnoverwithus@gmail.com. And we will be
Mm-hmm.
thrilled to share it with our yarn group here.
Yes, and share the pattern name, the designer, and what yarn you used. And if you can, instead of inserting a photo, put it as an attachment. I'm not sure why that matters, but it does. It just helps. So I think it's a sizing thing of the image. But anyway, we'd love to show off your projects, and we just secretly want to see them too. So anyway, let's see what else. Uh, what else do we have? Anything? I think we're good. I have nothing in my kitchen because I haven't been home except for the big party. I can say that I made the infamous birthday cake. I only make it once a year. I took photos of it, but it just looked so awful. I don't know. I'm not a photographer, you guys. I'm the worst. My husband takes much better pictures, but I made the famous Mitford orange marmalade cake, and it is a crowd favorite. It's very labor intensive. It takes hours to make, literally hours. And, but my friend Jan was here and I just, baked and did all of it while she was sitting at the counter here talking to me. But it is an amazing cake. And if you've ever read the Mitford series, and I know it was written, in the 90s, I think it is, but I think y'all need to revisit it, like you younger girls. If you have not read it, it is just the sweetest series. And she's got that cake in there. Well, she talks about the cake, and then she actually had a chef create a cake to fit the image she had in her head about it, and it is amazing. So,
I have
anyway,
been purchasing. I've been purchasing the books through Audible,
oh, you
so that I
are?
could listen to them as I knit. So
Is
yeah,
this a
I have.
first time for you? Have you never read
Yes,
them?
I've never read them. And
Oh, I
so
love them so much.
I thought it would be neat to just listen to them. And some of them are
Oh,
actually
yeah.
read by the author. And so I've tried to make
They
sure that I'm
are?
choosing, I've been trying to choose the ones that have been actually read by the author. So, I think I've purchased I haven't even finished the first one yet, but I have started listening to it. But I think I've purchased about seven or eight of them already. So they're sitting in my Audible account, ready to listen to whenever
Yeah.
that I get there. But you've
Well,
talked
I
about them for
see
so many
Cynthia.
years.
I
It's like
know. I
I want to
know.
listen to them.
I would love to listen to them. I should do that. I should buy them and listen to them again because I don't want to have to read them all because I do have several I haven't read, which I didn't know until like last year. But I really think that Cynthia looks like the author. And Jan Karen is just a lovely Southern belle. She's just lovely. And I'm thinking that's what Cynthia looks like. What do you think?
I don't know.
Well, have you looked at, because you don't actually have any of the books to see. Well, look up what
No, no.
look up Jan Karen online, and then
Okay.
probably Cynthia will look like that. It's in your head now because I've just told you. But she's blonde, blue-eyed, and Jan Karen is as well. So anyway, and I think I've mentioned this episodes ago, but there's actually a Mitford Museum. Well, you know what? I hope it's still there. So we are having technical blah, blah, blah. We are the technical I can't even say the word difficulty. Oh my goodness, we are having technical issues. And we're getting a little giddy. So I think we just need to we're having issues. I'm going to cut all that out. Well, you guys, we are having technical issues, so we are going to go ahead and close this just a little bit. And we, I live in the country, and I do have some internet issues, but I think it's really a computer issue, but we'll work on that for next week. And we're just going to go ahead and say goodbye, and we will see you next time. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
I have to do that again. It's a miracle I can't even speak anymore. Let it go. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. There goes my freezing computer. Danny's like, whatever it takes, just buy this stuff. I'm like, I don't know what it takes. That's my whole problem, apparently.